Mate, if you want to understand Sudan, you have to know its story is long and hard. It's a place that has known war for many, many years. The country has been through so much pain and division. This isn't a new problem that just popped up. This latest war, which kicked off in 2023, didn't come from nowhere. It's the result of old wounds that never really healed. By the time we hit 2025, Sudan was facing its worst crisis in living memory. This essay is a simple guide to how it all happened. The conflict that exploded in April 2023 is mainly between two powerful groups. First, you have the Sudanese Armed Forces, or the SAF. Think of them as the official national army of the country, led by General Abdel Fattah al-Burhan. On the other side, the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF, descended from the Janjaweed, led by Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, Hemedti. These two men were once allies. They worked together to take power, but their partnership fell apart, and their fight for control has torn the nation to pieces, turning cities into battlegrounds. It has deep roots: who controls wealth, land, and the country's future. The result has been a complete disaster for ordinary people. The roots of Sudan's problems go back a long way, even before it was an independent country. In the late 1800s, it was ruled by Britain and Egypt. This colonial rule drew lines on a map that didn't always make sense to the people living there, often favoring some groups over others. When Sudan became independent in 1956, it was already split. The north was mostly Arabic-speaking and Muslim, the south home to many African ethnic groups practicing Christianity or traditional beliefs. These differences would soon lead to war. Just before independence, the First Sudanese Civil War began in 1955. A long, brutal fight between the central government and southern rebels. It ended in 1972, but the peace didn't last. Core problems weren't solved. In 1983, war resumed. It lasted 22 years, killing and displacing millions, driven by religion, oil, and power. The Comprehensive Peace Agreement promised a referendum for the South. In 2011, South Sudan became independent, but disputes over borders, oil, and neglected regions inside Sudan persisted. Many communities still felt ignored and mistreated by Khartoum, setting the stage for more conflict. While the North-South War raged, another terrible conflict began in Darfur. In 2003, rebel groups from non-Arab communities, the Fur, Masalit, and Zaghawa, took up arms against decades of neglect. They fought for basic rights, land, water, and a fair share of resources. Khartoum, under Omar al-Bashir, armed and backed local Arab militias, the Janjaweed. The Janjaweed burned homes, stole livestock, poisoned wells, and attacked civilians. Mass atrocities and displacement followed. The world called it genocide. The ICC issued warrants for al-Bashir and others. Over time, the Janjaweed were rebranded as the Rapid Support Forces, the RSF. Their leader, Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, Hemedti, grew immensely powerful within Sudan's security system. No longer just a Darfur militia, the RSF operated nationwide. Creating a massive armed force parallel to the army would later have devastating consequences. The violence left a lasting scar on Darfur that never fully healed. For 30 years, Omar al-Bashir ruled Sudan amid war, sanctions, and economic crisis. By late 2018, people had had enough. Protests erupted, led by young men and women, demanding freedom, peace, and justice. In April 2019, the military removed al-Bashir. A transitional government formed, sharing power between military leaders and civilian protest figures. There were gains, like the Juba Peace Agreement, but the transition was fragile and distrust ran deep. The real power sat with General al-Burhan and his deputy, Hemedti. In October 2021, they staged a coup, dissolving the civilian government and resetting the path to conflict. They clashed over integrating the RSF into the army. Hemedti sought independence. Burhan wanted control. On April 15, 2023, gunfire and explosions tore through Khartoum. The RSF and SAF turned their guns on each other. Battles raged at the airport, the presidential palace, and military headquarters. The war spread fast, especially devastating in Darfur. The RSF seized ground in Khartoum and across most of Darfur. The SAF bombed from the air. Both sides were accused of abuses. The dream of a peaceful democratic Sudan was shattered, replaced by brutal civil war. The war that started in 2023, it caused one of the worst human disasters on the planet. By 2025, the numbers were staggering. According to the United Nations, 25 million people inside Sudan needed humanitarian aid. That is more than half the population. The fighting destroyed farms, destroyed markets, destroyed supply routes. This led to a massive food crisis. UN experts called it the most extreme hunger crisis globally. Famine was officially confirmed in parts of the country. Violence forced people to flee on an unimaginable scale. About 8.6 million were forced from their homes inside Sudan. Nearly 4 million fled to neighbors: Chad, Egypt, South Sudan. As if starvation and displacement weren't enough, disease began to spread rapidly. In 2025, a major cholera outbreak swept the country. Over 80% of hospitals in conflict zones were non-functional. Hospitals had been damaged, looted, abandoned. There were no medicines, no clean water, no staff. Children were the most vulnerable. Malnourished kids with weak immune systems barely survived diseases like cholera. Civilians were directly targeted. Reports showed mass killings. Sexual violence was used as a weapon. Aid workers were killed, convoys blocked and looted. The social fabric was torn apart, a breakdown of law, a breakdown of order, a collapse of basic human decency. Millions were left in constant fear and despair. Darfur, already scarred, became the epicenter again as the RSF consolidated control over most of the West. By 2024, al-Bashir, North Darfur's capital, was the last major holdout, a refuge for hundreds of thousands, protected by the SAF and allied former rebels. The RSF surrounded the city, beginning a brutal 18-month siege that choked off food, water, and medicine. Relentless shelling hit residential areas and displacement camps. The SAF replied with airstrikes. Civilians were trapped between both sides. Hunger soared. Hospitals were overwhelmed and repeatedly hit. It was a nightmare with the world watching. On October 26, 2025, al-Bashir fell. The RSF broke through and captured the city. Doctors and rights groups reported a massacre, at least 1,500 people killed in days as civilians tried to flee. Witnesses described systematic, targeted killings, often based on ethnicity, echoing Janjaweed atrocities from 2 decades earlier. A UN panel had found up to 15,000 killed in El Geneina in 2023. In early 2025, the United States determined that genocide had occurred in Sudan. Sanctions followed against RSF leader Hemedti and associated companies. Nations condemned the violence, urged protection of civilians, and demanded humanitarian access. The ICC launched new investigations in July 2023 and prepared arrest warrants by 2025. Sanctions aimed to pressure perpetrators and constrain funding. The Quad proposed a truce, a permanent ceasefire, and a 9-month transition to a civilian-led government. But ceasefires collapsed and leaders refused compromise. The war lurched into a deadly stalemate. As conditions deteriorated, the World Food Programme warned, "We are running out of time." By the end of 2025, Sudan was shattered. The state fragmented, the economy and healthcare in ruins, a generation's future stolen. Any path forward must begin with protecting civilians and ensuring immediate, safe humanitarian access. Lasting peace must include civilian leaders, women, youth, and communities from all regions, not just the generals. Justice and accountability are essential. ICC cases and targeted sanctions are first steps to break the cycle of violence. Despite the darkness, there's a glimmer of hope in the resilience of Sudan's people. With real pressure for a ceasefire and a truly inclusive peace, Sudan can be pulled back from the brink. The people have suffered enough. They deserve safety, support, and a chance to rebuild in peace.